Humans have done amazing things, building massive structures, creating mesmerizing art, and witnessing the cosmos. However, we've put an enormous strain on our planet with these accomplishments. A musician has released an album to invoke the healing nature of trees and encourage listeners to think about their world and the climate. The album is called Songs for Trees.
Well, thanks so much for having me. It's great to be here, Ryan. My name's Norine Braun, and I live in Vancouver, the unceded Coast Salish territory of Squamish, Musqueam, and Tsleil-Waututh people. My ancestry is mixed heritage. I'm Ukrainian and Métis. And Métis Cree, Métis Lakota Sioux. Actually, my origins come from Manitoba. So, so it's great to be here. And I'm a singer-songwriter. I just released my 13th album, and it's called Songs for Trees.
I just think it's so funny because I was talking with a musician yesterday, and he's also from originally from Manitoba. So it's like, everyone just starts in Manitoba and then spreads.
They disperse. The origins of the species.
So this is your 13th album. That's really incredible. Song for Trees. I guess what first set you on the path to create music?
Music's my calling, and it's been part of my life right from the beginning. My mom said that I sang before I talked, and I danced before I walked. So I first started writing songs when I was 10. I picked up a guitar and I took a year of lessons, and then I left and I was self-taught. I had an older brother who played guitar, and I started for pleasure, just expressing myself, writing songs in my early years. And it wasn't actually until my early 30s that I decided to pursue it as a career and to start putting music out into the public domain. So so it's been a
never
journey.
too
I
late
was
to
a
get
late
into
bloomer,
music.
really, in a lot of No, exactly. Although I was told in my 30s, you should have started you should have been doing this like in your 20s, but I didn't really listen to those people. So I thought, well, I think you make music your whole life. So, maybe I'm not going to be Madonna. That's okay. I'm going to be a successful grassroots musician. So yeah, it's never too late, for sure.
Your music is just so fun listening to it, like the different parts between the songs where it's just like the babbling of a brook or the wind through a tree. Like it is definitely a piece that if you just, put it on while you're just listening to music, having like a cup of tea, yourself, what are kind of the emotions or thoughts that you put in to create this piece?
It's a conceptual album, so I wanted people to listen to it and to be taken on a journey through the forest. So all of those feelings that you get when you go on a forest walk, I'm hoping that that's what it's going to bring out. So that's why I wanted to include natural sounds. So for people, walking in the forest and the creek and the fire and all of those things. As soon as people listen to them, I've had several friends say, as soon as they listen, their shoulders drop and and they're natural sounds. So I think that's the beauty of the forest. And so I wanted a sense of joy, a sense of reverence, a sense of relaxation, a sense of connection. So all of those feelings, and certainly I wanted it to be listened in one sitting so that a person takes it. So it's not really a singles kind of album, although I am releasing singles on it. The intention is supposed to be like a concept album. So from beginning to end, come with me for an hour and relax and enjoy a forest.
I find that's an experience that people at least don't do too often. Nowadays it's all about like the hits, the singles right now to, get the songs out on TikTok, whatever grabs attention. Yeah, there is something, I guess, ethereal or magical to sit down and enjoy an entire or created peace in one sitting.
Yeah, certainly back in my day when I was a teenager, that's what we did is we put our headphones on and we didn't have phones with their cell phones. We just listened to the music and immerse ourselves in the music. And that was really, I was going back to that kind of a memory. To turn off your phones, turn off your everything and just put the headphones on and listen. So
That's
because
awesome.
I think we have kind of lost that. We need instant gratifications and always stimulated. Our attention spans are shrinking. So I'm hoping I'll influence some people. Just take an hour out and chill with me.
Yeah, that's this album, Songs for Trees. I definitely want to sit down with my friends. Just go to the park at night when it's dark. All you can see is the stars, and just sit there and listen.
Sounds beautiful. Yeah, I'll
So
be with you.
yeah. This is your 13th album. What are some of the sounds or themes that you've tried to hit on in your previous works?
I've got sort of all. For this one was a blues roots rock. It was called December Falls. It was a Christmas album, and so we went for like a party mood, a celebratory mood. But we did some different twists on old classics, and then I did some originals on it as well. So that's sort of my live sound tends to be when I play with a full band. It tends to be on the bluesier side. So there's always a blues influence. Like I always have at least one blues song, which I do on Songs for Trees as well. Mm-hmm. So there's a blues element to most of my work. Also jazz, blues and jazz kind of go hand in hand. I do spoken word. I did an album called Gone to the Spirits, which I received a Canada Council for the Arts Award to write it, as well as I did for Songs for Trees too. Mm-hmm. But that album was about 20 years in the making. And a friend of mine was doing his undergrad in archaeology, and he told me about this person called Gone to the Spirits. It was a two-spirit warrior woman who lived 200 years ago in the interior of BC, near Creston. And she had lived as a woman, met an explorer, and she transformed and lived the rest of her days as a man. And she's had wives and had amassed a great fortune of 26 horses, which was the currency of the time. And so her story was just so amazing. My friend said, "Oh, you should write a song." So I ended up writing a whole album about her, and that we kind of incorporated like contemporary. It was contemporary, kind of tribal, primal, percussive sounds, sort of trying to go back in time to sort of take the person on. Again, it was a conceptual album to take them on a journey back to her time and her story. So yeah, so. I like contemporary music, so blues, jazz, spoken word. I have done a bit of hip hop, but that was about 20 years ago. A little bit of soul, a little bit of country. So yeah. So each album, like my earlier work, is more pop, I would say, of the time period, like 2003. Now and Zen, that's kind of a pop album. But again, because I'm a songwriter, I tend toward multiple genres, and I think thankfully people are sophisticated enough these days that they don't mind. They want to put you in the box, like, what are you, what's your genre? But I think most people like multiple genres and listen, and they're and that's certainly what I am as a writer.
Yeah,
but if you ask me what's my form, it would be AAA radio. So adult alternative, I think that. Adult album alternative. Yeah.
Well, you definitely want to have a little bit of flexibility because, depending on your mood, your feelings, the occasions, the type of music that you want to listen to can completely change. Like when you're at an upbeat party, you don't want to be listening to something kind of like slow, ethereal, soulful. But like in other moments, you don't want like dubstep when you're trying to relax around a fire with friends.
Exactly. Yeah, so there's different sounds for different times. Yeah, that's a great point.
Looking at the release you sent, one of the cool things that you had in there was 10% of net profit. Okay, just give me they really are like children sometimes. They just don't. Okay, go somewhere. Do something. or I will hold you. Come here. Come here.
He wants to be interviewed.
Yeah, there we go.
Kitty.
We'll just do
There.
this. Anyways, a cool thing about this new album is 10% of net profits from digital downloads and CD sales. Okay, what? Okay, you could just. It's going chaotic. 10% of your sales are going to Tree Canada and one tree planted. Why was it important to you to focus on, climate change and the healing power of trees for this release?
I think we're at a critical time, really, with global warming, and I think we're running out of time too. So in my small way as an artist, I'm trying to raise that awareness on the importance that trees are the lungs of the planet. And without trees to sustain us, we won't be here. They're really, they're the perfect being earth specimen to clear carbon up.
Climate change. Yeah, you're right. When we're seeing reports being released from the UN, it's not good news. And I mean, it is great to see that there has been a lot of efforts from people like yourself working towards it. Scientists, activists really fighting towards, negating. Because I know back in the early 90s, the predictions were like doomsday sort of levels, like the world engulfed in a fireball.
Right.
And I mean, the news now, like +3 degrees worldwide, is not good for our oceans, for the planet, but it is worse than, or not as bad as the doomsday it was before, but there's still so much effort that needs to be done.
And what was really amazing during the pandemic, when everything was shut down in the world for a while, how fast the water started to clear and the ozone started to come back. And I thought that was a very promising and hopeful that we could still turn it around with a map, but it would take a mass, buy into it all. So yeah.
Yeah.
Is that cat distracted?
No, it's all good.
Okay.
Well, how do you feel that we
so
can
cool. Yeah.
all work together towards, creating a cleaner world?
I think it's all the little things that we do. I think all the little things we do add up. So whether it's, picking up our garbage in our neighborhood, if it's living sustainably, being conscious about what we're throwing away, if it's planting a tree, looking at our own footprint in terms of our living on the planet. I think all of those things, if everyone became just aware of their own neighborhood and started to care about their own neighborhood, I think collectively that would be huge. You see some of these, there's like, they're on the Facebook quite a bit, people in like South America and in India, like one person who's like reforested huge areas.
Mm-hmm.
And so like, that's really amazing that one person can make such a huge difference. And, there's young people who are looking at how to clear out the plastic from the oceans. And so you have like a lot of people working really hard in their different disciplines, educating and trying to get people on board. So I think that's how we do it, is everybody do a little part into what they're, and it'll make a difference. It has to, because nothing goes unnoticed by nature.
All of us working together, and then as individuals, when we become more eco-conscious, we start challenging corporations. And if people stop buying things, like I know the biggest challenge is, going to the grocery store and everything's wrapped in plastic. I know I'm going out of my way to, find things that aren't completely covered in cellophane, but it can be hard sometimes. I know for myself, I'm a large proponent of, developing systems and safety nets and creating, just the system overall where everyone is cared for and has resources. Because, when people have a home, food, water, then they can actually have that free time to care about other things when you're not just, in complete, a system
survival.
of, in complete survival mode. because I know
Yeah.
statistically, if people are struggling to pay their paychecks or like their rent or things, or they're living paycheck to paycheck, IQ levels actually go down because you don't have time to think about anything else.
You just want to live this day. So, yeah, I mean, our society, if we care for everyone, it's to everyone's benefit. You know, crime rates go down, the way we live, we get along with each other improves. It's just kind of common sense, really. If people aren't all struggling and trying to to just find the next meal or the next place to sleep, it just creates this constant state of tension, and and people steal and do those things because they're totally desperate, right? Yeah, so all of those things go hand in hand. So I think the state of our environment is reflective of the state of how we care for each other, and when we see that things are sacred, we protect
Hmm.
everything, including each other. Definitely. So, I mean, in a capitalist society, look at things, like trees only have value as lumber.
Hmm.
They don't have value as like cleaning the planet or just as a sacred beauty piece of art, right? This amazing, incredible thing. They're just like, let's cut them down and they have value when they're cut down.
Yeah,
So,
capitalism and consumerism has definitely
yeah.
disconnected us from our
Yeah,
land and nature. If something can't be monetized, then it has no value in this system. But
exactly.
at
Yeah.
least for myself, there's nothing more fulfilling than going for a walk and actually being able to see trees, to see animals. And I mean, there's not a lot of that here in Winnipeg. There are some really nice areas like the Forks that have that nature still clinging on there, but I would like to see a society where we prioritize nature, that cities are designed for people to walk around, to move, not focused entirely on vehicles. That's just me.
Yeah. No, I think that's great. I think that's the route we're going to inevitably have to take, I think, to sustain a life on the planet.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Exactly, because
absolutely.
wouldn't a city look beautiful if it's just up the side of a building is just completely covered in green, walking down the boulevards and sidewalks? You could get to your local like bakeries or local
Yeah,
clothing shops. You could just walk places. You didn't have to, or at least have more access to public transportation.
yeah. And if you had like public gardens that people can just go and take what they need.
That's always
I
a
know there's
struggle.
like we have some public gardens here in Vancouver, and I know in Seattle they've been doing that as well, which people can go and take what they need, and I think like more things like that, right? So
Well, there's so many empty lots in large urban centers that could easily be transformed, but it's just like, who
yeah,
owns it? Like, where's
yeah.
the? But that's another thing. A cool thing about your song is "The Burning" charted number 40 on the Indigenous Music Countdown the past week.
Yeah.
What was your reaction to hearing that?
Oh, I was really excited, and it's a great honor. It's actually up to number 30 this week, so I've jumped another 10.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's a great honor. There's I have a few friends who are on it as well, and so it's great to be among them, and a lot of great talent and a lot of diversity on the list. So yeah, I'm honored that I'm part of the Indigenous Music Countdown. So it's exciting,
Well, it's
and
always
means more people get to hear the music. So
Oh,
it's all
exactly.
good.
When your hard work is recognized, it feels good. It's not necessarily about like the monetary
Oh,
accomplishments of it, just the recognition that people are like, "Wow, this thing that you've poured your time and effort into, I love this. This is amazing."
yeah, it's getting noticed. Yay, people are listening. Yeah, it's great. It's
Well,
good.
having the arts supported and people engaged in the arts is just awesome. Very
Yeah,
cool.
and so important. That's how we get through things like the pandemic and global global warming.
Hmm.
Yeah,
And it's just going to
yeah,
be continued efforts of people coming together, sharing songs and music like this, connecting us all on this like web of the world so that we can, work towards a brighter and cleaner future.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, so important. Yeah.
Well,
The arts will save us.
exactly. Whenever we can see a boom in the arts, it is a sign of a flourishing society. So you got any projects or ideas that you're in the works on right now?
I do. I'm actually, well, it's very, very much at the beginning, but this year or last year, during the writing of Songs for Trees, my mom became very ill and passed away, sadly. So that album was also a way to move through that grief. But I'm an adoptee, and it was my mother who adopted me, who raised me. And 2 days after mom's passing, I got a message through Ancestry DNA, which I've been trying to locate my birth father, just for history, not necessarily for relationship. But I had no name, no anything. So I went through Ancestry about 10 years ago. But it was just very strange. 2 days after mom passed, I get this message, and it was saying, "Oh, your birth father is alive, and he knows of you, and he wants to meet you." So I was totally, it was disorienting because it wasn't something I had expected. But this past year, we've been getting to know each other, and I have cousins and aunts and a brother and I've just been getting to know him and his life. And he's Métis from the Pas, Manitoba. So just last month, my partner and I, we drove from Vancouver to the Pas. Don't go there in April. It's not like Vancouver. It's like really cold. But we had this marvelous connection. So I'd like to write about that. And that's the focus, I think, of the next album will be, I'm in my later years. So to meet this part of my history is really exciting and interesting. And I didn't have any expectations. It wasn't something I dreamed for, but it's life is funny. It has these twists that you can never know what's coming. So I think I'm going to explore that area and write some songs. And it turns out I have a lot of members in my biological family who are musicians as well. So
it's in the blood. It's in the blood.
Yeah. So we'll see how that evolves, but that will be definitely the subject of, reconnecting with my birth line.
I'm sorry for your loss. It's always difficult to lose family members, but it is cool to hear that you have created this kind of new connection with new family. Yeah,
a friend said to me it was like it was her last gift to me, and somehow through the cosmos she kind of reached in, and because she would have been thrilled for me, she would have been very happy. So yeah, so it's all good. Well, so far.
I'm excited to potentially hear what sort of stories and songs that you can create from this.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It's probably be a couple of years down the road, the next album.
Well, it is something exciting to look forward to. Well, thank you so much. It's been awesome connecting and chatting with you, and I hope through listening through your music, more people are inspired to fall in love with nature. Where can people go to find out more about yourself and your music?
Thanks, Ryan. I'm on all digital platforms, so eMusic, iTunes, Amazon, Spotify, as well as my website, which is NorineBraun.com, NorineBraun.com. And I have hard copy CDs. If you're old school like me, I like CDs still. So I like something to hold and handle. So you can get them there. And I have YouTube channels, all social media. So I pretty much Google my name and you'll find me everywhere. Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much. It was a pleasure to connect with you.
Well, and it was a great honor to talk with you, Ryan. Thank you for taking the time, and I appreciate you helping me get the music out there and the message about saving the trees.
Enjoying the content from You Multicultural? Subscribe so you can stay up to date with everything that we're doing. I'm Ryan Funk. This was You Talk, and have yourself a good one.